Hello students, in this video lecture we will continue chapter work, energy and power. In first lecture we have studied about definition of work, energy and units of this term and some numerical based on this term. And in first lecture we have also studied about equilibrium of a system and kind of equilibrium. So in this video lecture we will start from here. Forces are divided in two categories, conservative and non-conservative forces. So conservative forces are those forces by which work done independent from path, or we can say that work done by conservative forces in a closed path is zero. Work done in closed path is zero. For example, suppose gravitational force, we are taking example of gravitational force. So if you bring this mass from ground level to height, some height h, then work done by gravity will be minus mgh, because while moving this mass, gravity will act downward to this object, right? So work done by gravity will be equal to minus mg, which is force into h, displacement. So minus mgh. And when you bring this mass from highest point to this point, then this time work done by gravity will be positive, because gravity is acting downward on this mass and this object is also moving downward. So work done by gravity is mg into h plus mgh. So if you calculate total work done in this round tree, then this will be equal to minus mgh plus mgh, which is equal to 0. So we can say that work done in closed path due to conservative forces is always 0. But work done by non-conservative force in closed path is non-zero. You can see example of non-conservative. Suppose friction is acting on this object and this object is moving in this direction. Then suppose force of friction is F, and this body displaces from this point to this point, which is S meter away from initial point. So we can say that work done by friction is F into S negative, because friction is acting backward and this object is going forward. And if this object start moving from this point to this point, then friction will start acting rightward. So again you can say that when this body move from B to A, then again work done is minus Fs. So if you try to calculate total work done, then you have to add these two works, which is minus Fs means minus 2 Fs. So here work done in a closed path, this object started from here and finally it reaches at same point. Then work done in closed path is minus 2 Fs, which is not equal to 0. So we can say that work done in closed path, work done by non-conservative force in a closed path is not equal to 0. Is it clear? Now we will see central force. So central forces are those forces which acts along the line joining the center of two objects. Gravitational force is an example of central force. Suppose this mass is m1 and this one m2. So force of attraction between these two masses will be along this line, which is joining centers of these two objects. So this object will pull this object towards its center, and this m2 will pull m1 towards its center. So we can say that gravitational force is central. Similarly, electrostatic is also a central force. Now we will see about energy. Energy is ability or capacity to do work. So mechanical energy are kinetic energy and potential energy. So kinetic energy are the form of energy by virtue of motion of the object, and potential energy is energy in any object or any system by virtue of its position or configuration, right? So formula of kinetic energy is half mv square, and formula for potential energy, if we talk about gravitational potential energy, then its formula is potential energy gravitational equal to mgh, and potential energy, spring potential energy, because spring is also conservative forces. Student, potential energy is only defined for conservative forces. This energy is only defined for conservative forces. Potential energy is not defined for non-conservative. So potential energy, spring potential energy is half kx square, where x is compression or elongation from natural length of the spring. Okay, you can easily derive these two formula. You would have derived it in your 9th class. Okay, so you just have to remember these two formulas. Now we learn about conservation of momentum, conservation of mechanical energy and work energy theorem. So let's start with work energy theorem. So work energy theorem is most important topic of this chapter. So by applying work energy theorem, you can solve most of the problem of this chapter, right? So work energy theorem is work done by all the forces, conservative forces or non-conservative forces, or work done by internal forces or work done by external forces. Means total work done, or even work done by pseudo force. Total work done on a system is equal to change in kinetic energy of the system, right? This is the work energy theorem. Means final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, right? So let's apply this work energy theorem on certain situation. Motion in vertical circle. If we consider a bob which is revolving in a vertical circle of a length of rope is r, then at highest point, suppose this point is A and this point is B, then at highest point, if you write Newton's law of motion, second law, then you have to write total force equal to mass into acceleration, and here total force on this object should be equal to mv square by r, because this object is revolving in circular path, so centripetal force must be acting on this object. So T and mg both will add up, and these two forces provide this centripetal force. So mg plus T equal to mv square by r, right? So at highest point minimum value of t is 0. So we can easily derive here v equal to root, this m will cancel out if you take it as 0, then v equal to root rg, right? And to find velocity, minimum velocity at p, for this object to just complete vertical circle, we can apply this work energy theorem. Let's apply it from A to B, applying work energy theorem from A to B. So when this object move from A to B, then gravity and tension, these two forces will do work on this mass. So sum of these two work must be equal to final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, right? So gravitational work done is equal to mg into h. H is r plus r, 2r, right? And work done by tension equal to 0, because tension is always acting perpendicular to motion of the object. So work done by tension equal to 0, and final kinetic energy half m velocity at point B square, and initial kinetic energy is half m and velocity at a point square, and velocity at a point is root rg, means the square of root rg, which is equal to rg, right? If you simplify it, you can get answer like 2 mgr equal to, this will come this side, and half mrg equal to half mv square. You can cancel this up, let's take common 2, you will get 5 mgr by 2 equal to half mv square. This 2 will cancel, m will also cancel, and you can easily get this value vb equal to root 5 gr. So this is the minimum velocity at lowest point to just complete the vertical circle, right? So by using work energy theorem, we have derived this formula. So student, if only conservative forces are acting on a system and no other forces are acting, only conservative forces are acting, so we can put these forces equal to 0, because we are taking a condition in which only conservative forces are acting. So work done by conservative force equal to negative of change in potential energy, right? So you can write work done by conservative force equal to negative of change in potential energy equal to delta k, which is equal to u final minus u initial, and this is k final minus k initial, and if you multiply this minus, you will get minus u final plus u initial equal to k final minus k initial, and let's take initial one side and final other side, so ki equal to kf plus uf. This is sum of potential energy and kinetic energy, so you can say that total mechanical energy initial equal to total mechanical energy final, right? So we can say that if only conservative forces are acting on a system, then its total mechanical energy remain conserved. Total mechanical energy remain conserved. So conservation of mechanical energy is valid only if only conservative forces are acting on a system, right? But work energy theorem is always valid. You can apply work energy theorem irrespective of considering forces acting on that system, whether it is conservative, internal, non-conservative, pseudo. But you can't apply this conservation of mechanical energy without confirming that only conservative forces are acting on that system. Only conservative are acting on a system, then only you can apply conservation of mechanical energy, right? And what is conservation of momentum? Conservation of linear momentum. It states that if no external forces are acting on a system, if total external forces acting on a system is 0, then its sum of initial momentum is equal to sum of final momentum. Means momentum of a system remain conserved if net external force acting on that system become 0. Now we will study about collision, right? So student, when two objects collide, three situations can arise. Either they can collide elastically, so collision between them is elastic collision, or inelastic collision, or perfectly inelastic collision, right? So in this three situations, we have considered here some conservation theorem, conservation of linear momentum, conservation of kinetic energy, conservation of total energy. So linear momentum will conserve in all three kind of situations: elastic, inelastic, and perfectly inelastic. But kinetic energy is only conserved in case of elastic collision, because in inelastic collision, some of the kinetic energy before collision, some of the kinetic energy is converted to potential energy after collision, right? That's why in inelastic or perfectly inelastic, kinetic energy will not conserve, right? But momentum will conserve, linear momentum will conserve in all three situations, and total energy is conserved in all three kind of situations, right? Because energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, so total energy will conserve in both the situations, in sum of potential and kinetic energy. So what happens in these two collision is, some of the kinetic energy will be converted into potential energy of the system. So student, you can understand collision by this illustration, right? Suppose this object m1 is moving with the speed u1 before collision, and this m2 object is moving with the speed u2, and u2 is less than u1 in magnitude, right? And a spring is attached to this m2 object. So when this object collides with this m2, then during collision this spring gets compressed, right? So some of the kinetic energy, these two kinetic energy, some of kinetic energy will be converted into potential energy of this spring, because initially this spring was at its natural length, and during collision it has compressed by some length. So some of the kinetic energy is changed in form of potential energy of the spring, right? If this collision is perfectly elastic, then what happens is this spring will again regain its original length. Means there is no deformation in shape of these two objects, either m1 or m2. Means potential energy is 0 before collision as well as after collision. But in case of inelastic or perfectly inelastic collision, some of the kinetic energy of these two objects will be converted into potential energy of this spring. That means this spring will permanently deform, right? When there is permanent compression in that spring or elongation in that spring. So in inelastic collision, what happens? Kinetic energy is converted into potential energy. Means that object M1 or M2 get deformed from its original shape. Is it clear? So in all three kind of collision, we define a quantity which is called coefficient of elasticity. What is the coefficient of elasticity? And it is defined as velocity of separation by velocity of approach. This is velocity of separation and this is velocity of approach. Right? So V2 minus V1 by U1 minus U2. This is formula of E, coefficient of restriction. E equal to 1 for elastic collision. Right? E equal to 1 for elastic collision. And its value is from 0 to 1 for inelastic. And for perfectly inelastic, its value is 0. So you can remember these three values of it. E is 1 means perfectly elastic collision, E equal to 0 perfectly inelastic, and E equal to 0 to 1 means inelastic collision, right? So before collision, U1 and U2 are velocity, and after collision, V1 and V2. So by using two equations, conservation of momentum, because momentum is conserved in all the cases, so you can write M1 U1 plus M2 U2 equal to M1 V1 plus M2 V2. This first equation. And second equation, you have to write from this expression, E equal to V2 minus V by U1 minus U. So how many variables are here? Only V1 and V2. Two variables are here, because all these quantities will be given in the question. So there are only two variables, and we have two equations. First equation this and second this. So by solving these two equations, you will get final velocity of first object and second object. So you can remember this formula to solve problem fast, right? If you remember these two formula, you can solve problem very fast or quickly, right? So V1 is this much. You have to remember this. E M2 M1 minus E M2 M1 U1 is initial speed before collision. U2 is speed of second mass before collision. Then you can easily get final velocity of first mass and second mass, right? If collision is perfectly elastic, then you just have to put this value equal to 1. इसे 1 substitute कर देंगे, तो you can easily get value of V1. Here also you have to put 1. And in case of inelastic, it will be given in your exam that this value is half or 1 by 3. That will be given in your exam. So you can easily calculate V1 and V2. And change in kinetic energy. When kinetic energy will differ, total kinetic energy, when collision is not elastic, right? If collision is not elastic, then there will be some decrease in kinetic energy. That's why I have written here initial minus final, right? So initial sum of kinetic energy and this final sum of kinetic energy. In case of elastic collision, there is no loss of kinetic energy. So this value, you will get this value equal to 0, right? For elastic collision, change in kinetic energy becomes 0, okay? So this is change in kinetic energy, half M1 V1 square plus half M2 V2 square minus half M1 V1 square plus half M2 V2 square, right, student? So by using these two formula, you can solve all kinds of collision problem, and this is all about collision. I hope this concept is clear to all of you. So okay, student, thank you very much for watching this video. Best of luck for your exam. You can come at doubt counter 3 to 4 and clear your doubt. If you still have some doubt in any concept or any numerical, please come at doubt counter and clear your doubt. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.